Hello everyone, this is Muhammad Lawal and I will be hosting an interview with my able prof here who is going to be the guest and we'll be speaking on mental health and its effect on the African child. My able prof, good morning and it's nice to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So for the record, this is Eco Clips Network Africa and I am the CEO founder of the organization.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's
And
fantastic.
looking at our society today, we have so many issues that are related to mental health. And we have been raised to believe in our society that it is only when a person loses his total mental senses and runs mad, is walking on the street, going from dumb side to dumb side, that is regarded as mentally ill or mentally unstable. But before we jump into that, sir,
Okay.
we would kindly like to have a brief background about yourself, sir.
All right. Good morning, the host of this program. My name is Professor Ibrahim Abbas Sodangi. I'm the Provost of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences of the Kaduna State University. And the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences of KASU is located in Kafanchan. Thank you. Yeah. But professionally, I'm a professor of agriculture, to be precise, crop science.
Wow.
You're welcome.
That is commendable, sir.
Yeah.
Such a very hierarchy and academic royalty you said, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a privilege indeed to have you here with us, sir.
It's a privilege. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Prof, sir, what do you regard as mental health?
Well, mental health, in a nutshell, is a state of, cognitive, behavioral, and sound or mental well-being, or if you want, emotional well-being. Cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. We can describe that as mental health.
Wow. To what extent do you consider or see a person as being mentally healed or ill, or let's say mentally unstable?
Yes. Going by the definition I gave you, in our society, most people, it is when they see somebody on the street going from one west being to another, picking things, and they think that person is mentally ill. But like I define, if your behavior in the society, it's far from, or it's a far cry from what is expected, it could be described as somebody who is mentally ill. Your behavior and looking at it mentally, looking at it emotionally, there is an expectation in every society, in every community. And if it is a far cry from this, then we can really say there is a mental problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. In our society today, especially in Africa, and Nigeria to be precise, how does our society view mental and physical health differently?
Yeah. Well, physical health, is a state of physically, you're not healthy. There's a physical, your well-being physically has something to write, nothing to write home about. When you are sick, you are in the hospital or in your house, and they know that physically it is not well with you. That's physical health. The society, in most cases, don't differentiate between mental health and physical health. In most cases,
so they
assume that both of them are the same, especially when they see somebody behaving like I have described. The behavior is nothing to write home about, and emotionally is not stable, and behaviorally there are too many questions around him, and they think that maybe because he's not well physically, that's why there's a manifestation of those behaviors. But you would know that there's a difference between mental health and physical health. Those who know that there's a difference, and those who did not know before now should know that there's a difference. Physically, somebody may be mentally healthy, very good person, sound mind, good in behavior, but physically there are challenges. There is an ill-health, imbalance in terms of his health. So that person is considered, though mentally okay, but physically not okay. because he's sick. His well-being is not what it ought to be or what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
That is a function of knowledge. Absolutely. So, sir, do you think the two have been given much attention or the necessary attention they deserve in our society today?
In a society today, the two have not been given the necessary attention. But the physical health and the mental health, you discover that in most cases, it is only when there is a manifestation. Many people don't take care of both their mental health and their physical health. It's when there is a manifestation, when things have gone bad, and there are signs and symptoms that this thing has already gone bad, and then they begin to treat. Now, it's always better. So there's a saying that prevention is better than cure. So it's always good to look after your health, both mental health and physical health, not to wait until there's a problem, there's a challenge, before you begin to run helter-skelter. Honestly, in our society, it's a far cry from what the expectation is. Many people don't care about mental health and their physical health.
That's commendable, sir. So, do you think the two should be addressed in the same manner, Professor, sir? Why or why not?
Well, not in the same manner. Not in the same manner. Well, if your physical health is well taken care of, it will tell much on your mental health. All right? So the mental health, in most cases, does not manifest critically as the physical health. And so it is always good that, okay, like the mental health has to do with, it's an accumulation of right from your behavioral pattern, the upbringing from the family, the kind of society you found yourself in, the kind of friends you have, the kind of company you keep. All these add up to affect the mental health. So it's something that is key and fundamental, that right from when one is small, these issues should be taken care of. And the person himself, when it comes to his senses, should be able to select his sphere of influence, his kind of friends, people he associates with, so that as you associate with people that are mentally healthy, there's that propensity that you too will grow up mentally healthy. But if you find yourself, or deliberately or unconsciously, amongst people that behave anyhow, whom I have described that they are mentally sick, by and large, the Hausa man says, zama da madaukin kanwa shi yakan kawo menene farin kai. So there's a different way you treat your mental health from the physical health. Physical health could come as a result of many things, maybe their eating habit, the environment, the climate, and things like that. But they can be handled, and they should be handled differently, really.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Professor, sir, do you think societal and cultural values have influence in the child's mental health?
Sure. Societal and cultural values. If you grow up in a society where the norms are not kept, there are societal norms, they are not kept, and you do the wrong thing, and nobody is there to correct you. You behave anyhow. You grow up. There's a difference. There's an influence. A child that grows up in a society that is mentally sick, naturally, or there is a tendency he copies what he sees. The environment affects him. The society affects him. So there is a link between the society and mental health. The way you are brought up, the culture you're brought up in. You are brought up in a culture, let's say beginning from the family to the community, and brought up in that culture that is mentally sound, there's every possibility that you'll be mentally sound. The deviation from the norm will not be much. But if you find yourself in a culture that anything goes, and mentally is not sound, and there's a tendency that you copy what you see, you copy what your environment is practicing.
Right. So you need, as they said, association leads to assimilation.
Right.
So the child being in that such kind of environment and growing up in it will definitely get to be assimilated with what is being practiced in that environment.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So looking at our society today and the state of youth in regards to substance abuse, do you think parent has a key role in child's involvement into drug or substance abuse?
Parents have a great role. there's a saying in one of our religious books: spare the child, spare the rod, and spoil the child. Spare the rod. When you spare the rod, you spoil the child. So when parents begin to recognize or begin to see certain mental behaviors that are wrong, and they see substance abuse from their children, and maybe because of love, they don't give a damn, they don't care, they don't correct them. The child will feel that there's nothing wrong about this behavior. I did it yesterday and nobody said anything. If I do it today, nobody will say anything. Gradually, they get used to it. So parents have a say, and they must be very mindful of that. Once you notice your child, already beginning to abuse some substances or beginning to associate with people that are known to abuse substance, you better quickly intervene and try to cause a separation between your child and such people. There's a saying that it's too late to cry when the head is cut off. So if you allow it, it gets to a point where trying to correct it now becomes difficult, if not impossible. So it's good for parents to always arise at a good time to intervene and to make sure that their children stay away from substance abuse. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So there is what they call different generation. Some call it the Indomie generation. Some call it digital natives, so that are born digital era.
Okay.
So that is youthful exuberant.
Yeah.
Youthful exuberant in the sense that when a child begins to experience and begin to go through the stage of adolescence. Yeah, so as teenagers from the age of, let's say, 15 to 18, when he becomes a full adult, and he begins to portray and display some kind of attitude. Some comes with curiosity, and some comes with the feeling that with the feeling become rebellious. They're acting rebellious. So how that, and in that way, if a parent, do you think that parent who lack the knowledge, or maybe due to the immense love they have for their child, then they won't be able to correct the child when they see him becoming rebellious to them and going against their instruction, their orders, or their commands in the house and whatnot? So in that way, the child, will that maybe somehow lead him to engaging or involving in some kind of wrong behaviors, especially drug abuse?
Yes. Biologically, every young person has this desire for exploration. You always want to explore nature, explore things you find around you, things you see your peer group doing. You want to just do. You want to manifest. They like experimentation. It's a period of youthful zeal. Sometimes a zeal without knowledge. Sometimes, just to express that exuberance. Biologically, it's there. And sometimes you discover that even if the child is religious, when it comes to that stage, there is a tendency to want to exhibit those characteristics. They are somehow natural. But for everything that is natural, when you find yourself in an environment where you are properly brought up, properly guided, you will discover that those tendencies tend to disappear. So even if it was there biologically, that there is youthful exuberance, there is the desire to explore, there is a desire for experimentation, the environment you were brought up in has a say in those behaviors. And if it starts early, it's better. So parents have a say. If because you love your child, you say, okay, let them just manifest. It's part of it. It's part of life. Let them explore. They may get to a point where you now find it difficult to control them. So in as much as, yes, there is that tendency to want to experiment, to want to explore, to want to follow peer group, then you have to now begin to help your child to know the kind of people he or she associates with. Are there people that will help him grow mentally sound? Are there people that will help him achieve his goals in life? Then you have to, because at that stage, some of them are not very careful in selecting their friends. But when the upbringing is good and the parents are mindful of these things, then the children will also begin to follow carefully. And by the time they grow, by the time they pass that youthful stage, that stage of exploration,
Yes.
you will see they are better citizens because the background was good. Their parents helped them, enlightened them. You know, in our society today, it's unfortunate that a lot of parents don't have time for their children, especially this jet age. Everybody seems to be busy. Is it religious people? Is it civil servants? Is it everybody is busy? So, and you know that you are busy, but the family is key. Give attention. So if they are not given attention, if they are not well attended to, by the time those behaviors begin to manifest, it becomes difficult. Though it is not impossible to correct them.
Thank you so much, sir. So, like, statistically, most guys, like males, they suffer from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Most of them, the feeling of inattention, like they lack attention, because we are raised to believe also the same thing in our family, that the girl child should be given more attention than the boy child. So most of us boys, we grow up to not even being able to have a good communication with our parents. But when it's come to the girl, she easily gets whatever she desires. Do you think also that has an effect on the African child?
Yeah, it has an effect on the African child. First, you know, there is this understanding or there is this thinking that the girl, not inferior, the girl is weaker. They said there's this feeling that the female is the weaker sex or the weaker gender. So, and there is this feeling that, okay, let's give attention to them. And there is this sense of protecting the girl child also because she's more vulnerable and she could be easily attacked. And we believe in Africa that she does not have the stamina or the strength to defend herself. So we try to bring them up very, very carefully. And then we also have the understanding that one day we are sending them out to their husbands. So we want to bring up children, especially the girl child, that will be properly tutored, well-mannered, so that whoever marries them will be happy he married from our family. And then with this understanding and belief that the male child is strong, we feel that we should allow him to fend for himself. Even if there are challenges, he should be able to know what to do. That's the thinking.
Face it themselves.
Face it themselves. So they are given less attention. And so they now, instead of maybe realizing that the parents trust them to be able to do the right thing, they will now feel, okay, nobody will disturb me. They're now taking it in a different way. I can't do anything, they don't give attention to me. So nobody will ask me, where are you coming from? Why are you behaving like this? So instead of that, feeling that our parents trust us to be able to conduct ourselves well, they are now feeling that, well, we are not under anybody's roof, or whatever we do, they will not quarrel us. They will not talk to us as harshly as the girl child. So they are taking it in a negative way. So I think that attention should be given both to the girl child and the boy child. Male and female should be properly looked after.
Yeah. So attention should be equal.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. So in this country, we'll be suffering from the issues of insecurity, ranging from kidnapping, rape, and especially in this part of the state, we could say ethno-religious conflict or communal crisis in some part of the northern states.
Yeah.
Sir, this crisis has left quiet in the victims. What is termed as trauma? Sir, what experience would you like to share with us in this regard?
Yeah. Yes, there have been a lot of experiences that are not palatable. They're not good for us. Well, generally in Nigeria, but particularly if we're talking of this part of the country, we have had a fair share of our own traumatizing situations. There are many, just like you said, political issues, religious issues, tribal issues, and unfortunately, we have a lot of, tribes. So even within the same community, and in fact, many times even within the same religion, you will discover that if it is not a religious issue, it's ethnic. This one from this family, it may be land matters. And you discover when something like that happens, the young ones And indeed, everybody is traumatized, especially now with these recent issues of kidnapping and whatnot. People are not sure what next will happen and to who. So just going out of your house, you have to pray, thank God. We pray very well in Nigeria. We are very prayerful people. Because you don't know what will happen the next thing. You just have to commit your life into the hands of God. You see, but the fear that is created, it's really debilitating. It's discouraging. It makes people not to maximize their potentials. And for those who have been affected in one way or the other, those who directly were traumatized or were maybe somebody was kidnapped, you yourself was kidnapped, or somebody, your child or your brother or your sister, it's difficult to erase that trauma. Difficult. And you grow up in a society, you say, is it the kind of society I want to find myself in? Is it the kind of life I'll continue to live? And this one itself brings mental ill health. The thinking is not correct. The thinking is that of fear. And fear already, once you're afraid, it affects your mental well-being. So the victims are traumatized. People associated with them, biologically or otherwise, are traumatized. So they cannot maximize their potentials. Things they ought to do, they are even afraid to do them because they don't know what will happen next. So the society is just like that. God is very important in everything. But when you find yourself that you have gotten that mental thinking that, I don't know what next. I don't know what will happen in the next second, the next minute. It affects you psychologically, mentally, and even health physically. Right.
Wow. And how does that affect your family, your loved ones, and whatnot?
Yeah. Like my family, I know that there are many people who stay outside. I happen to be from this local government area. We have people who live in other cities who feel that coming around, especially if they find themselves in environments that are a bit more peaceful, everybody's afraid. They don't want to come home because we don't know what will happen. They have had stories of people that were coming and they were kidnapped. They have had stories of that. So it affects that people that you are closely related with biologically, you spend years without seeing them because they don't want to come home since they don't know what may happen next. I was coming from my village last year, and then some people stopped us. I had to start praying that, God, in case anything happens, my spirit is in your hand, my soul is in your hand. But God intervened, and so that is the kind of thing. And we wouldn't say that these things don't affect us. They affect us. They affect the things we do. But thank God we are people that love God, and with prayers, we try to allow God to take control, and so we're not too anxious. We just commit unto God and we relax. Say, God, take charge. But it's not everybody that has that kind of faith. Not everybody. So, and when you touch somebody, somebody is walking. There are people that are described as walking corpses. You see them walking. By the time you even say hello, the person will start abusing you because he's already thinking of one experience. So even saying hello will offend him. Even asking for direction. I know several times I go to certain places where I'm not used to, and I ask somebody, please, what is the road? Where is the road that will lead me to those? Immediately the person opens, I'm a visitor. Me too, I'm a stranger here. And my mind will tell me that, look, these people they are just trying to avoid, they are afraid of the inevitable, or afraid of maybe kidnapping or stealing of children or things. So you just open your mouth, you're trying to ask somebody a question. He said, I'm a visitor here. Please go to that corner, you will see somebody ask. I know that these things are not normal, but because of where we have found ourselves today. All right.
So, sir, thank you so much. But these trauma survivors or victims who have been traumatized, yes, sir. So, how do you think we can build resilience in them? Resilience, the ability to cope and handle those past experiences.
Yeah, one of the things is counseling. That's what we call trauma counseling. You can counsel such victims. They can be brought under certain meetings or one-on-one discussions with people that are trained counselors, NGOs, spiritual leaders. Counsel them. Tell them that life doesn't have to continue like that. Things can change. They have found themselves in that situation, but for how long will they continue to live with it? So I know it's not easy when you have had a certain experience, terrible experience like that. It's difficult to believe in your country. It's difficult to believe in the society. Everybody you see, you will be a suspect. So, but with counseling, I'm sure they will be able to come back to normalcy. So they need counseling. We need to pray for such people, and we will need to get close to them. And we don't need to stigmatize them. You know, the society is such that when somebody has gone through that experience, instead of having people that will empathize with you and try to counsel you and try to, bring you back, fully incorporate you into the society, you are almost always looked at as somebody who has experienced this, especially issues of rape, for instance. It was not the person's desire that she was raped. Now, instead of people to now empathize, I could have been in that shoe. For example, if you're a female or even male these days, female rape males too. So instead of feeling that I could have been in that shoe, so how can I help them? We try to yap them. We try to run away from them. You see that person? She was this, she was that. No, those things, yes, those things don't help. You stigmatize them, and socially they become as if they are not wanted. And that's why some of them sometimes they prefer to take away their lives.
Or even
jump into
drugs.
Yes, go into drugs. So that they would, that thinking will not be, they just want to just go off where or haywire. So it's not, the society should actually have a rethink. When people have found themselves in such situations, let's think of how to help them rather than laugh at them, rather than yap them, rather than create a situation where they regret even being in this war.
Thank you so much, sir. So with all being said, do you think there is an interconnectivity between mental health and climate change?
Yes, there is a connectivity between mental health and climate change. When you talk of mental health, you discover that sometimes even the weather does not help matter. Sometimes maybe you are somebody who is used to staying in a cold environment or this kind of environment, and suddenly there are changes. Your body also needs adjustment, and it takes a long time. You did not anticipate, of course, we study in the books about climate change, but when it will come to your own area, you may not know. So things you are used to, your brain also has registered some things, because whatever is happening to you is registered, so your body immediately will respond. And lo and behold, a sudden change. So it can affect your behavior also. Where somebody was comfortable doing certain things, and because of climate change, you're no longer comfortable. It's also part of, mental health. So it affects, there is a connection between mental health and climate change. Sometimes it could be positive. Sometimes you were struggling to survive in a certain environment, and suddenly an environment that is better than what you were experiencing comes in. So it's not all the time that is negative. The climate change in your own environment, your own area, may be to your own advantage. And it could be to another person's disadvantage, just like there's a saying that one man's meat is another man's poison. And so there is a connection. It could be positive, it could be negative, depending on who is reacting to that climate change.
So what is good for the spider is definitely changes for the plant.
You are right.
Thank you so much.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, our final question here to sum it up.
Yeah.
What advice or recommendation can you give to most especially parents, families, youth, and the healthcare system, or even the government of this country, on the issue of mental health education and awareness?
Okay. Yeah, my advice is that we shouldn't take it with levity. We shouldn't take issues of mental health with carelessness. We should take it with all the seriousness it deserves. So for parents, they should know that giving a good background to their children will help them in life. It will affect their social life, it will affect their mental aspects, it will affect their physical well-being. So parents should know it. Of course, you wouldn't give what you don't have. You don't give what you don't have. So parents should also try to imbibe this culture of taking care of their mental health. And because they know it and practice it, it will be easy to pass it down to their children. Then for the children, we know that there is always the desire to explore environments, to explore wherever you find yourself. But every youth should be very mindful of the fact that if you do the wrong thing, it will affect you in life. It will affect every aspect of your life. So try to associate with people that can help you grow soundly, behaviorally, and mentally. Will grow well. So when you see such people that do well, study them. It's not every time you get to a place and you begin to associate with people you have not known. Try to study the environment, study the people, and then have goals. These people I want to associate with, will they actually help me to achieve my goal? So youths have a great say in determining their future. And so this issue of abuse that a lot of people, young people going into, maybe because some of them lack of job, they will say, well, I've studied. I saw one young man the other day, gathered all his certificates and burned them, set them on fire. Well, he said he graduated 14 years and no job. So he said, what's the need? Well, it's not like that. Those certificates, just keep doing what you're doing. One day, the need may arise. Even if the need does not arise, I mean, even if you don't join civil service, because many young people always believe that it's only when they are in civil service that they think they are working. You see, when you are mentally okay, physically okay, your mind will tell you that I'm even supposed to be an employer. We learn skills, we get educated so that we can also help the society. The population nowadays is not such that government can provide jobs for everybody. So, but when you are mentally okay, you will now think, you use your thinking faculties to be able to create jobs. But when you are not mentally okay, your thinking is already affected. So you won't even think of what you can do to help yourself and to help the society and even to help the government. Now, in terms of government, honestly, I think there's so much room for improvement. It's like a lot of people, when they get to government, they forget where they started. They forget the masses that, if it is a political era, elected them into power. There are many people that a small thing will make them mentally all right. But people will be busy amassing wealth. You don't know when and where they want to spend it. There are some people that for time and eternity, even if they don't do anything again, money they have amassed, I don't even want to analyze whether rightly or wrongly. But those monies should have been used or should be used to help the masses. In fact, if the youth think that they have a future, they will not behave the way they behave. But many people think there's no future. They see that there is a disequilibrium. Somebody is talking about being a billionaire here and there. Somebody you know that if we want to compete, they cannot even compete with me. There are a lot of young people who have studied, who have the ability, who have the strength. If it is to compete, given the environment to compete, they know they will outcompete a lot of people that have amassed this wealth. But they are there, don't have anything, they can barely eat. And they look at others living in affluence. So it affects the society, it affects their thinking, it makes them feel, why was I even born? Why did I go to school? Why am I disciplined? So they will now, instead of going the right path, they will say, let's just do anything, because that is how we have seen the society, and that's where we have found ourselves. And so instead of trusting God or looking for good friends, looking for good counselors, they will say, well, let's even take life into our hands. Whatever comes, that is what God wants. According to them, they will just say, whatever comes our way. They don't care. So the government has a role, parents have a role, and the young people also have a role. Every one of us, without exception, we have roles when it comes to mental health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful privilege and wonderful experience and all the knowledge that you've imparted with us today. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having this more time with you again in the future. Thank you so much, sir. And do not forget that this is Eco Police Network, a non-governmental organization in Nigeria whose common aim is to create a channel in which the voices of the African child are heard, a platform for youth empowerment, and an engine for mental health advocate, and a channel for climate mobility advocates. Thank you so much for listening and watching this interview with us. You have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.